So my only question is, who paid Ish? Who paid Ish, or who got in his ear and told him to speak against reparations for foundational Black American descents of slavery? Okay, because on the Joe Budden podcast, Ish is supposed to be the pro-black guy, but he's more of a contrarian. Like he just want to come up with uh different thoughts of to look at one thing, which is stupid. Like so it's clearly a basketball, right? That you can observe. But Ish will look at it and be like, you know what? It's not really a basketball. It's a three-dimensional, circle, some bullshit like that. He kind of give me brother polite vibes, to be honest. All right, let's get it.
What about it? Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different. I think that um, I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like, I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it.
What about it? Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different.
The two are very different. It does not explain the difference, by the way. But go ahead.
I think that um, I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like,
Okay, so he says no to reparations. He says yes to equity, and then he equates reparations to handouts.
I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it.
So he says he don't want you on his yacht about making his own money. He don't want your money. So he looks at reparations as somebody else's money. This guy definitely doesn't understand the definition of reparations.
I don't think that if we get reparations, we gonna fare any better. Me personally, I don't think that. So I think reparations would be a waste for most. Some would definitely take the money and do some positive things.
How would you determine that reparations, first of all, it's owed to you? It's not something it's like an inheritance. It's like you don't, I mean, again, that's why I think somebody paid them or they told him, yo, you got to do this on this podcast.
With it, but I don't think it'll get us no better if we not changing how we being treated in America.
Ishmael, you can't, well, I don't know his name. Ish, whatever his name is. How does, hold on, bro. How can we change the way we're being treated? Like, how can a victimizer of a bully change the way the bully treats them? You can't. Like, people are going to treat you a certain way. You could hold them accountable. You could, you know, do other things. But why are you coming to us about how we being treated unfairly? Why not go to the victimizers and tell them, hey, stop treating them unfairly? So you see the stretch he got to do. He got to blame the victim over the victimizer to make this no reparation claim, this statement make sense.
I don't think reparations going to nothing.
So you don't think reparations going to change nothing, dude? It doesn't matter what it changes. It's what you're owed. Okay, it's what you're owed. If you take an item back to Walmart, right? You want your money back, and they take the item back and they put it in stock or returns. They owe you your money. Well, I don't believe it's going to help you in life, so I'm not going to return your money. What are you talking about? Give my money.
It's about rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we being treated is because we're poor.
No, I think that yes and no. I think
So apparently, somewhere else, he said we're being treated unfairly because we're poor. So again, this is somebody just dealing with recent history. It's like, yo, how did we become poor? Why don't you address the fact that we were locked out of wealth in America for over 100 years with no assistance at all, little to zero, no assistance, while the rest of the Americans, the Europeans and the European immigrants, all they got was handouts, literally handouts and government assistance. When it comes to us, the people who've been locked out of wealth, locked out of laws and yeah, constitutional rights, we won't do any better. Yeah, this guy's assessment is crazy. And again, like this is the assessment that mirrors the talking points of conservatives.
So let me just finish. So if we did get the money, would it change how we're treated because they're not necessarily poor anymore?
No, because they're not going to give you enough money for you to be rich. Reparations.
Okay, so he called him on that. So he called him on a statement he said before, like we're being treated badly because we're poor when we're systematically made poor. Now he's saying, yeah, but how can you be against reparations then? Because reparations is a notion that you're going to be paid the wealth you're owed. That's going to help close the racial gap. And now you're no longer poor. I mean, you're probably not rich either, but you're in the middle somewhere. So now Ish go backwards and says, yeah, but you're not rich. Yeah, it had nothing to do with rich. You didn't. Ish's first statement wasn't that you're being treated badly because you're not rich. He said you're being treated, Black Americans, foundational. He said we're being treated badly because we're poor. You're not just only poor and rich. There's something you can be in the middle where you're not poor, you're not rich. And that's what old boy in the blue is pointing out. And Ish is just falling over his own words. Like he doesn't make any sense. That's why I believe he was paid or influenced to be anti-reparations for foundational Black Americans before the world.
They're going to have to give 13% of the population reparations. And then they're going to decide if you got black blood, if you don't, like when we get the reparations. One, the reparations don't come with a financial literacy package to show you how to use the money to your...
Brother, no reparation payment comes with a financial literacy package. Matter of fact, you don't ever get paid at your job. Nobody pays you with a financial literacy packet to say, hey, man, spend your money like this. Create a portfolio. Diverse your portfolio. What are you talking about? They'll say anything to deny us what's rightfully owed to us.
Best advantage. That I agree with. That's number one. Number two, it's black people that make a shit ton of money today that still don't do nothing with the money and don't gain nothing in society just because they have money.
Why? I mean, bro, in that case, that's our history in this country. Like we had money, but you look at Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, look at Rosewood, look at North Carolina. These people had money, but they didn't have a crazy status in America. I mean, so this guy just talking.
So I don't think the reparations is the end all be all. I think that's a cop out for me.
Well, for one, reparations was never held as the end all be all, my boy. It just unpaid debt that the country owed. That plus land and plus other things as well. All right, not just money, but other things as well is packaged in that reparations claim. But we never said the end all be all, and we never said racism ends right now. We don't care. We'll deal with that later. But first things first.
I would just say one, and I get the idea of not taking handouts, but the whole argument of reparations that it's not a handout, that it's owed, right? That it's reparations literally means repair.
Gotcha.
Repair the damage done. So the idea is if you took, like you said, if you got a 100-year head start and you took my money for 100 years, you exploited my labor, and all this stuff was built around our labor, universities, companies, insurance, all
the country.
Yeah, the whole country, right? Every institution. Then giving us reparations isn't a handout. It's actually what we're owed. And then the second part of that, I think, is I've never heard people say reparations is either or. You know, I've been part of the reparations movement for a long time, not like a leader of it, but just advocating for it.
Right. Why is it reparations or equity? We're like, no, both. This guy is weird. The Ish guy.
And every reparations person I know is also asking for voting rights, housing protections, other things. And then the last part of it is I think reparations should be a check. I think every descendant of slavery, to be clear, so I don't get hit on the internet, every descendant.
So you see that? So Mark Lamont Hill, he's on code. Y'all can see if that one invalid, but he's on code. As you can see, he corrected himself. He said descendants of slavery, American slaves, American slavery. He corrected himself where it's not all inclusive. It's definitely all exclusive. A particular group that were harmed lineage based or lineage wise.
of American slavery here in the United States deserves reparations.
Gotcha.
But I also think, in addition to the check, we should also have access to free.
Overall, we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
You taking it when most people, in a general sense, talk about reparations, they talking about a check.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
If you said, "Yo, do you think every descendant of slavery should get free education?" Yeah. And again, it just depends on.
Would you, if you got all the other stuff, would you be okay with the check too?
I wouldn't be turned down the check now.
No, I mean, as an idea. I don't mean would you turn it down? I mean, would you?
I just think that I don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I think that a lot of times people just be.
Yeah, but it also ain't gonna do what you think it ain't gonna do. Like, just give us our money, bro. All right, don't worry about the future plans, and no, give me my money. It's my money, and I want it now.
Like, yo, if my mother worked at such and such, I would be doing better. Or if all of that shit, to me, it's the same ideology. In my overall, we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
Dave Chappelle had the thing about reparations. He's like, yo, the Cadillac dealership gonna be empty in 2 days. Shit like that. Like,
You see, so people reference Dave Chappelle. He ain't the first person. I heard many people reference Dave Chappelle's show to dismiss reparations, black, white, and alike. They all use that Dave reparations parody skit. So a lot of us were behind Dave Chappelle when he turned down a dress, but that wasn't a big win. But then he did something worse. He downplayed reparations for descendants of American slaves. Say that was worse, but we're behind Dave like he's with us. Nah, the dude shit. So it's conservatives are against wearing a dress. It's like mainly liberals who's pro that, but conservatives are not sympathetic to reparations. So just because he said I don't wear a dress, that's not a win for FBAs, ADOS. The conservatives gonna take that one, but he disrespected us by downplaying and make a parody skit of what black folks would do with the reparation money, which just substantiated white people suspicions all along. So now look at these guys. They're using that excuse on the Joe Budden podcast. Yeah, so Dave Chappelle, that dude's an enemy too. Anybody who downplays reparations are enemies, man. And guess what? Ain't no coming back.
I just think that they had a whole.
That's what white people say to justify not giving it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. And so we cop Cadillacs then.
No, it ain't even just to justify not giving it.
The white boys got all that crypto money and bought every Lambo in the spot.
But I'm just saying, we kind of saw money. Something similar, not similar, but we saw when people got access to a whole bunch of extra money they didn't expect during COVID
and all that shit. Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah. I'm of the belief that that's not my business.
True.
I'm not saying that y'all are right or that y'all are wrong. That ain't my business. Somebody go get their check and blow it. No,
of course.
It's funny.
Mine in the shoebox still.
This is a side, but it's kind of related. When I was in Nashville this weekend, we went to the Country Music History Museum or whatever, and they had some cars. They had Elvis's car. It was diamond paint, gold-plated trim, TV in the back. Another dude's car had guns for the door handle.
All right, so what the white dude did is what I like. Like, he made the dude Ish look more foolish, right? And I don't want to use the COON word or the Uncle TON word, right? I'm trying to use better words for people. So yeah, but the white boy made Ish look more foolish because he's like, yo, you're acting like only foundational black Americans go out there and waste money on cars and this and that. He said, man, I went to some white event where he said Kentucky, whatever. He said they were doing the same thing. They had all type of lavish cars, just wasting money on cars. That's just what some humans want to do with their money. Other humans will live a more conservative life, right? But this is a free country where you could do what you want. You want to blow your millions. I mean, in that case, let's start regulating basketball players, NBA players, and football players, because they blow their money too. Like, they be broke. Look at Antoine Walker, a couple $100 million. The dude broke now. Look at Delonte West. He's homeless now. So what we're gonna start doing? We're gonna start making NBA players and professional players and artists and entertainers. We're gonna force them to learn financial literacy before they get paid. Which I'm for financial literacy. So there's nothing wrong I believe that's the right way to go, but I don't believe forcing people to learn it before they get what's due to them. I believe that's wrong. I know it's wrong. I don't believe I know it's wrong.
Do you not think our community deserves reparations?
For them to give every black person in the United States reparations, it'll cripple the financial system in America.
Can I ask you a question on that? During the pandemic, damn near the entire country got whatever that $1,200 check. Black people only make up 13% of the country. And then unemployment somehow was also able to tax on an additional $600 a week to those people who were unemployed during the pandemic. How do you reckon that 13% of the country receiving reparations would cripple a country that was able to give out? And it didn't cripple us because, let's be very clear, we're still sending money to Ukraine. Everybody else getting money except for here.
One, they ain't give a shit. Number two, and we paying for it right now. The economy right now is in a shitter. And, dog, people don't understand. You had to pay that on your taxes. That wasn't a free gift. So you didn't get no money from the government. If you had to claim that money as income and pay taxes on it, they loaned you some money. And you now got to
That's all
pay
lies,
that.
by the way. It's straight foolishness. All right, at this point, it's just trying to sound smart. I'll take equity over reparations. Hey, yo, somebody should have legitimately asked him, yo, Ish, what's the difference between reparations and equity? Can you break that down? He'd have been quiet as hell. All right. Just trying to be different, trying to be smart. All right, reparations and equity are both responses to injustice, but they are totally different in goals, definitions ish, and applications. And equity cannot replace reparations as a means of justice and compensation. Now, what is the definition of reparations? Let's get that out the way. Reparations are compensatory actions taken to atone for past harms or injustices inflicted on a group of people, usually by a government, institution, or dominant society. Reparations typically uh, involve monetary payments, land restitution, education funding, or public apologies. Acknowledge a specific historic injustice, e.g., slavery ish, genocide, forced relocation. Ish, not equities, but reparations are owed to the harmed group as a debt, not as a favor or benefit. Okay, this is not something you could just say, no, thank you. It's owed to the harmed group. It's duly yours. Examples: Germany paid reparations to Holocaust survivors as the state of Israel. But Ish, would you say that the survivors of the Holocaust, they received handouts for their genocide? Would you actually say that on the Joe Budden podcast? Hey, yo, the disrespect for us, yo, it's coming to an end because we're standing up. Just read all the comments. Matter of fact, I'll read the comments. The U.S. gave reparations to Japanese Americans intended. The U.S. gave reparations to Japanese Americans interned during World War II. All right. Was that a handout to the Japanese people that were done wrong? Enslaved Black Americans, who we call foundational Black Americans or American freedmen, or just being respectful, American descendants of slaves, right? African Americans, people say, I'm just being respectful to all the terms, right? But we say foundational Black Americans have never received federal reparations despite centuries of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and systemic exclusion from wealth building programs like the GI Bill and Social Security. So now let's define equity. Equity refers to the fair distribution of resources, opportunities, and access in the present, taking into account the existing disparities caused by past or ongoing systemic injustices, right? So equity focuses on leveling the playing field, e.g., giving more help to those who start from behind, seeks to create equal outcomes, not just equal opportunities, is forward-looking, addressing current gaps in education, healthcare, housing, income, etc. Example: allocating more education funding to under-resourced Black schools is equity. Affirmative action in hiring or university admissions is equity-ish. Providing extra support for minority-owned businesses is equity-ish. But you see, it's for everybody who's called a minority. So I wonder who actually advised is to say that on a big podcast like Joe Budden. I wonder who possibly even paid Ish a few pennies to go say that on the Joe Budden podcast, to use equities as a alternative to reparations. And, and the fact that he didn't even explain really. Now, are reparations and equities interchangeable? No. Reparations and equity are not interchangeable. Let's go through it. Okay, so what is the purpose of reparations? It's to compensate for past harm-ish. What is the purpose for equity? To address current disparities. You see? So one is addressing the past and one is addressing the present day. Okay? So, quite frankly, we'll take both. But to say past harm is no good, we'll just take current conditions is just a fool. Who is it for? Who's reparations for? Specific group harmed historically, in this case, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves. Who is equity for? Anyone disadvantaged by current systemic inequalities ish. Reparations is all exclusive. Equities are all inclusive ish. Who sent ish the agent? What is the legal moral framing for reparations? A debt owed or restitution. What is the legal moral framing for equity? A policy goal for fairness. What's the scope for reparations? Often limited to a particular historical injustice. What is the scope for equity? Can apply to various groups and systems. So, what is normally the form of reparations? Cash payments, land returns, public apology. What is the form of equity? Policy changes, resource reallocation, targeted support. No cash payments, no land returns, and no public apology. There's no accountability. It just, here you go. It's like a gift. It's like gifted to you. Now, Ish positioned equities as a replacement or equity as a replacement for reparations. I'm saying equities because more things come out of it than just one, as we just seen. Affirmative action, this, that. Anyway, no, equity is necessary but not sufficient. Here's why equity cannot replace reparations ish. Number one, moral accountability, as we just went over briefly. Reparations admit legal and moral guilt. Equity does not. So ish, like that was very, very slick, man. That was very, very slick. I'm speaking about Ish from the Joe Budden podcast show. Podcast, whatever. Equities does not admit to legal or moral guilt. Equity can be framed as benevolence or reform, while reparations are a settlement of a historical debt. Like, and again, I want to know who sent Ishmael. Dude had an agenda, and it wasn't his. Justice versus charity. So when you look at reparations versus equity, you're literally looking at justice versus charity. Reparations are owed. They are a form of justice. Equity, while helpful, often appear as policy-based assistance, which can be changed, reduced, or politicized. So it's interesting and ironic that he said he doesn't want handouts, but he's for equity. And equity is more seen as a handout than reparations. Restorative function. Reparations are designed to repair what was stolen or destroyed: wealth, freedom, culture. Equity does not restore lost generational wealth or land. It may help going forward, but does not repay what was taken. That's a slick boy, Ish. Yeah, so in my mind, I'm done with this. Here's the conclusion. Reparations are about repair, equity is about fairness, moving forward. Stop complaining about the past, in other words. Stop bringing that up. That's old. It didn't happen to you. It happened to folks, your ancestors. What that got to do with you, man? Focus on you. So that's why we actually need both. We need reparations and equity. All right. While equity policies are important to create a just society today, they do not erase the obligation of reparations for centuries of unpaid labor, exclusion, and systemic oppression. Equity can supplement, but it cannot substitute for reparations. It can supplement, but it cannot substitute for reparations. All right, let's have this conversation, man. Yo, 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 man. I don't mind the cancel culture idea or conception. I actually like it. I really do. And I think that's why folks are really, you could say, intimidated, afraid, or scared of this notion of FBAs or American descendants of slavery because it's a uniform of thought and impression. So what does that mean? And of course, of collective mind. So what that means is, in regards to cancel culture, when somebody does something that violates us, right? Shit, we get on code overnight and just boycott like the bus boycotts, and that's over. Like whatever you had going on, that's done. So for example, like even on a low level, somebody like Ish that got on the Joe Budden podcast, if we were on code like we should be on code, I'm talking about FBAs and FBA supporters, if we were on code like we were supposed to be on code, um, we should be able to get Ish to apologize. And you know how like the Jewish community do, they have you go study some Semitic stuff, some videos. Yeah, like we should have him like do visit one of us and like study some videos on our history, and more specifically on how we were locked out of wealth for over 100 years while the rest of America got fat out there. Okay. Yeah, like we need to even like these like the woman who used the N-word with the little kid. Now we were on code. I understand though, a lot of SBAs, a lot of black people, period, not just FBAs, black people, period, are afraid. So I'm gonna say us. I'm gonna say FBAs and black people, period. A lot of us are afraid to stand up on 2 feet, 10 toes down, and speak loudly with our chest out against systemic racism. You dig? Oppression, neo-colonialism, right? A lot of us are really afraid to get out there. And this is why we don't have a problem. Well, we should not have a problem with folks like Ibram Ture, right? We respect bravery. So it got nothing to do with being a Pan-Africanist or not. We just respect bravery. Like we're tired of cowards who are afraid to get out there and put their life on the line or their reputation on the line for the better of their people. So no, no, no. You won't get us to be against Ibram Ture or because he's not FBA. So we got love and respect for black people across the world. What we do not like are FBA coons and non-FBA tethers. That's what we don't like. But as long as you don't fall into those categories, we got nothing but respect and love for you, just like you guys have it for us. You know, and that's a fact. So yeah, so folks, don't let these tethers like Kwame and these coons like Ish try to make it something it ain't. Nah, it ain't that. You know, we are all the can man. Anybody can get it. Africans, foundational Black Americans, Puerto Ricans, Chinese can, trolls can, anybody can get it. Because we respect truth. We respect truth, integrity, honesty, bravery, things like that. So it don't matter if you're FBA. If you're a coward like Larry Elder, like Thomas Sowell, we can't stand behind you. Or even a half tether like Candace Owens. Like, we can't stand behind her. Or like a Stephen A. Smith. We can't stand behind them. And they're FBA, as far as I know. But nah. So a lot of tethers like to try to twist it and believe that we're just FBA no matter what an FBA person does. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. They can be excommunicated as well. And we're trying to be that power force. So it's not about just spending your dollars and or the lack thereof, or withholding your dollars like a boycott. Sometimes it's about numbers as well, like a million man march to show strength. You dig? So now, I would have loved for that million man march to been a bunch of people under the same uniform, like not really religion or things like that, but a mindset. Like, hey, you're not Muslim like us. We're not this like you guys, but we're gonna, since we're all here together, that means we have a similar mindset in spite of our, religious or spiritual lack thereof differences. And that collective, that a million hurt, 2 million collective, should have been the first cancel culture. So now when somebody act up, they can speak against it. They can, spam it. They can call the company and complain. Write them. You dig, all that type of stuff. That's what I think should have came out of that. It shouldn't have just been show strength and then everybody scatter and then weakness arise again. Right? It had potential, but wasn't there. So maybe another million man march, but done correctly. Like, these folks are one in mind. They are uniformed up. Claude, Ricardo, be more Pinky. Yeah, so we need to pull our numbers for strength, like real strength, not just for money or just to be seen as holy. Real strength. Dig. So yeah. So I'm tired of people speaking out against reparations. As you can see, I think Ish is supposed to be FBA, but see, I call him out too. We call him out too. Because let me read the let me read the comments on that guy. That's what I wanted to do live. Let's read these comments. Yeah, man, but we need to get together and be on code. But it can't be on code for just stupid stuff. Hey man, this taxi driver kicked me out, or this Uber driver kicked me out. Man, he wrong. And then we find out this dude was smoking a black and mild in the back seat. It's like, nah, like we ain't gonna do it like that, dude. No. You need to record, your issues. And we have an investigative team looking at that. Because you got a lot of black folks who be in the wrong and be trying to use power to get them like a immunity pass. Like, no, we believe in accountability. You got kicked out because you were smoking a black and mild in the back seat, and because you wasted our time, we're gonna put you on a list, right? The blackout list. Like, yeah, like that's it, man. You only get one call. Well, you get one wrong call, and you're done. And that's your one wrong call. You're done. You're in a blackout list. You dig? Some unfortunate stuff happening. May your God be with you. Black and white. Yeah, man, these guys be disrespectful, bro. Like, our culture, people in our culture could be very, very disrespectful. So no, I'm not giving these guys immunity, a hall pass to misrepresent us. No, it's still black excellence. It's still black excellence. Black excellence is still the standard. And that's why we could say B1, because B still stands for black, and we're black. And so is other folks, for the diaspora and the continent. They're all black too, right? So we still could say B1 as long as we on code. Now, do you think Ibrahim Toure would be, what about black on black crime? Do you think he'll be anti-reparations for us? No. So yeah, so it's easy to like distinguish the real ones from the fake ones. Now Kwame, no sir, like he probably can never come back. Like his only chance of him being redeemed is like if he's under 25 years old, and but he'll still be X'd off for 10 years. So let's say if he's like 24, the hatred he built that he expressed on his channel, he would have to serve a 10-year ban where he's excommunicated. We're not dealing with him for 10 years, and then after 10 years, the ban is lifted, and then we could probably fellowship with the dude. But the dude did a lot of damage. American Dream is another one. A lot of damage. 10-year ban. Uh, so you got some guys out there that just wild. So I'm still trying to get Brother Reggie back on. I need Brother Reggie back on because I watched over our discussion, a couple of them that we had, and would just he said some wild things and no tone low, and we need to rehash the conversation. And Brother Reggie, I don't want you showing your engineer degree, in attempts to intimidate me. Oh, look what I got. Yeah, brother, you got a degree in engineering, bro. We're talking about history, okay? Put that degree up and let's talk about history. What's historically accurate, okay? Because some of these folks use their degree like a badge, like a bad cop will use their badge, right? So the bad cop will show you his badge to illegally search you. It's like, yo, that badge is to protect and uplift the Constitution. So that degree is supposed to go towards engineering, and it's supposed to reflect some type of integrity or some type of research methodology in you. And when you're not representing your badge as a cop, what happens? Don't they take it from you? When you're a lawyer and you're misrepresenting the bar, they usually ban you from the bar and take your license, even driving. So with degrees, man, when you misrepresent your degree, you try to hold that as a badge to just say what you want to say, right or wrong. And if we can't challenge you because we don't have an engineering degree, nah, that can't fly. So he's been dodging because of that, because he knows that he said some wrong stuff and he does not want to be called out and held accountable. I'm saying, Brother Reggie, dude, I know you're a little older, but you still can grow. You still can learn. So get back over here, get cooked, get corrected, and then we move forward. Right, especially if you misuse your degree like he did. Like he holds it as he has the right to talk about anything. Like, no, dude, you can only talk about what you studied. You have a degree in what you studied. That's it. Everything else you learned is how I learned, is how you guys learned it. Dig? We just reading, researching. That's it. Putting some hard time in. That's all. So I need him back on here to cook them correctly. So Chris came through one time. The Ivory Coast Chris came through one time, and peace, Lord. Yeah, we want Chris back over here. He came back on here, but he came during the live. Like, dude, why don't you wait till the live is over? Then the live was over, he ran. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to that channel that I seen him on. I'm gonna find that thing in my history and get him back over here. Chris is no different than Kwame, KD, Jay. Like these guys just have, and they don't reflect all of the island, right? The West Indies. They just reflect themselves. So you can't condemn the whole island because of a handful of tethers. Can't condemn Africa for two handful of of tethers. You dig? American Zestmeister reminds me of that bushmeat barrister Bozo and Tariq. Yo, oh my God. Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah, I would love. So when Tariq be having that, does he be on Twitter or what's the other one? I can never remember the other one. When you call in Clubhouse. A degree means you're certified by white supremacists to work for them. Nah. A degree means more than that because you have people that's like, for example, like you got armies across the world, like even in Africa, that's being trained by white people, and their armies are, you know, lit. They're litty. You got the Japanese. See, a lot of you guys don't know history. Like, first of all, you're not gonna get shit done without aligning yourself with the white man. You can believe what you want to believe, but go show us the example. Show us how any one of you were 100% independent of the white man and you're great in something. Go show us that. So the white man ain't been ruling for all these hundreds and thousands of years because he's just stupid and he can't, improve on. Well, we can't benefit from his system. What do you want? You want it off? Give me. Yeah. So we're not gonna pretend that the white man is just a four-legged dog that no different from a lion. Nah, the dude like motherfucker, shit, his shit works. So he got it from us, but his stuff works. I'm not gonna delude myself to believe. No, bro, ain't nobody in recent times has been level. Yo, give me some people. Give me some people in recent times who have been successful without the white man. I'll sit here and wait for that. So the strongest armies in the world all had military training from the white man. Any science that's popping right now in the world had training or borrowed education from the white man. So anything great in life right now, folks have borrowed it from the white man. I can't roll with that one. I'll be on Twitter. Yeah, I can't roll with that one. Yeah, so you have you could so Ibrahim Traore kicked out the French who was helping them out, helping the army out, and they invited Russia in. So look at Russia doing the same. Russia's doing the same thing. They added defense. They're adding nuclear. They're teaching him about nuclear energy. Even look at Iran. Iran's learning nuclear energy, nuclear bombs from the white man in Russia. Yeah. So listen, if okay, so you want to go independent outside the white man, then how? So your country is going to do what for heat? Well, because you definitely doing nuclear energy. That's the whites, man. That's E equals MC squared. So you ain't doing nuclear energy, are you? Okay, so you definitely doing that. So what you gonna do? Coal? Shit, is that from the white man? I got to look that up. But modern science is you want to be anti-white, then don't use modern science. That fancy car you got outside, take the bike. Yeah, I'm not that delusional. So, but you get what you can get from them, and then you say, be on your way. It's real simple. You get like Japan. Japan became a great nation in like what 40, 50 years after they aligned themselves up with the west of Europe, and some of the east. Some of Russia helped out Japan to Russia's own demise because they ended up beating them up in the Japan Russo Japan War. Yeah, so I don't go by that. Yeah, well, yeah, we're in that system, but the system is great. Like it just evil people running it. But if you replace evil people with the same system and apply righteous people who will deal the cards fairly, you dig, and let the best man win, and you some type of socialist, a real socialist um, reform or programs, you'll see a better system. But like you got the conservatives lying like hell, you know, to the country. You got the liberals lying like hell to the people. So you got these two people who are in power just lying to the people and they're beefing with each other. So liberals would never give conservatives any credit because they're gangbanging. And conservatives won't give the liberals any credit because they're gangbanging. So they'll let the country fall before they let one side, one political side, save the country. They say, hell no. If it's the liberals save the country or we fail, we fall, we're gonna just fall. And hey, man, if it's the conservatives to save the country or we fall, we just gonna fall. Like that's their mentality. Like they both would sell out the country before they let the other party save the country. Yeah, take what you get from them and tell them move on. And you know, do it with a smile. I know that's what I be doing. Oh, you got some information for me? Okay. How much? Free? All right, come on. I'm smiling, but the whole time, like, I can't wait till you get done. Get up on out of here. You dig? Yeah, just because I work with you and do business with you doesn't mean you're my friend. Like, yeah, I mean, like we could be cordial, go bowling, you know, here and there, but you're not gonna be my friend. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna be my friend because I don't think we have that much in common. Well, I know we don't have that much in common for us to be true friends. Like, no, we're not true friends. I don't fake like we are. I'm honest from the door. No, 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 no. I'm not going to your cookout. No, I'm not going there, and you're not coming to mine. But we can go bowling and play some hoops or play dominoes, something like that. Watch a game, but at the bar. But that's about it, bro. We ain't got to mesh families just because we're doing business. Stay over there, I stay over mine. Like kind of like how Russia and the United States does business, right? They don't like each other, and they're not trying to be friends, but they do business with each other. That's me. Like I just can't be phony. Like I just can't be phony. I can't act like you're my friend and you're not. Okay, go sit over there. Go. And that's just me. Yeah. So some of us gotta just do that. Some of us gotta like even like work friends. Like I'll be real cool with my work friends, black, white, Chinese, Hispanic, but some of them try to invite me to stuff outside of you know some of them try to invite me into stuff outside of work, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Even the black ones, like, I'm good because the person I am at work, that's not who I am in person. Like I'm very reserved at work, like you should be. Why would I be talking politics? Hey, we think about Trump. Nothing. I'm just here to work. We think about Russia. No, I don't know. I don't follow politics. I be lying. Like I'm like a at work when I'm on a job. I'm like an imbecile in disguise. I act like I don't watch TV for politics. I'm a typical stereotypical Negro. You dig? All I do is watch sports. This is the persona I give off. I just watch sports. I just go home. You know, I just do this and that. But no, I don't watch TV. I don't watch politics. I don't do this. I don't do that. Nope. Sorry, can't help you. We think about the dude in Texas that got stabbed. Who got stabbed? Where? I ain't hear about that. Where? Really? Let me show you. Now I'm good because I'm busy, man. I'm over here doing. I got my fan duel lineup, bro. I'm just like that's how I'm, that when I work at a company, that's how I am. I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't want to know. You dig? Hey, we think about the woman who called the little bit boy. Word that happened? You lying? Oh, it's true. Okay, I don't want that. My fan duel lineup. I'm trying to get this team right. Who should I get? Donovan Mitchell or Murray, Jamal Murray. You dig? That's how I am at work. You will not get me into those conversations because if I'm working for a company, it's for a goal. I have something to get out of it. Now, I'm not going to let these discussions jip me out of what I'm there for. Right, Ricardo. The people of North Sentinel Island are the only real free black people. Yo, yeah, you crazy, yeah. He said they the only real free black people on earth. Yeah, you are. Yeah, that's kind of. I can't argue with that, man. Don't do. That is funny though. That is very, very much true. Donnie, peace. Said peace to Tiger. Yeah, but anyway, we should all be exercising black excellence, black fierceness, but also black love and kindness. We don't always got to be, you know, when I disagree, you'll get different emotions. It shouldn't be the same emotion. I might disagree with a smile. I might disagree with a frown. I might disagree with no emotion at all, right? So we could disagree without always being angry, always being happy, always being sad. We're humans. We got mixed emotions. Uh, so you see, I have uploaded many videos, not many, but a few videos on Burkina Faso. For one, it's a current event. For two, people kept bringing it to me. And then three is trending like now. It's like trending more than ever that he met with Vladimir Putin from Russia. So like can't be a fool. And then there's a lot of misinformation. So I typically get involved on subjects that I don't normally talk about when I believe there's a lot of lies surrounding it. So the first lie surrounding Burkina Faso that partially caught my interest was that Kwame came on here lying, saying, "Oh boy, had a car company that produced electric cars. Yes, it's a school bus that produced electric cars to compete with Tesla and every other major car company in the world, Mitsubishi, whatever else." And I'm like, who? You're like Burkina Faso. I never heard of that place. I'm thinking that's a damn man. Like, who the hell? Who is he? It did. So when he explained it, well, it took him forever to explain what it really was. So I'm like, well, hell, man, ain't no way in hell a country I never heard of could compete with Tesla and Mitsubishi and Dodge. Like, dude, get the hell out of here. So we fact check him on the fly. It was a TikTok spoof video that he watched that suggested such a foolish idea. So then I started hearing about how he was warring with the French and kicked them out the country. So the narrative next was Captain Ibrahim Traore was warring with the French and then eventually had them flee out the country, like backtrack. Um, what's that called? What's the war term for that when a army back away and turn the other way and retreat? Yeah, so he acted like they retreated. They were warring. Well, not him, but many people act like uh, the Burkinabes were warring with the French, got the upper hand, and the French turned around and fled out the country back to France. And I'm like, dude, that don't even sound right. How the hell a third world country gonna defeat a first world country in war? Like, what the hell? I'm thinking, like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I go look it up. They're not warring with the French at all. The French was an uh, former colonizer to the country, and they started to protect. So after uh, Burkina Faso gained their independence in 1960, like every other black country in the world, basically at the same time, like 1960, where everybody got there. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, the white man just felt like he had enough. The white man collect the same way they did the Berlin Conference to come together to carve up Africa and dominate the world. I guarantee you, they all came together and said, 1960, we're gonna leave these folks alone because everybody got their independence in 1960. There's no way in hell that's not a coincidence. Okay. Anyway, I mean, that's not a coincidence. There's no way in hell that's just a coincidence. I don't believe that. Anyway, it turned out that they were protecting their investments there. They got the independence and they were still working with them, like probably under their own terms, where the French benefited more. And then, Burkina Faso slowly started to gain control of their country, slowly, slowly, slowly. And then when it came to Ibrahim Traore, they was like, all right, bro, your services are no longer needed. Like we're gonna take our talents to South Beach type shit. They told the French. But it's only right. It's only I don't see the big deal. It's only right that you ask or demand that your former colonizers leave the country. It's like, yo, y'all might offer good stuff, y'all might have good advice, and y'all might be a real asset to the country. But the history that we had with you guys, you are our former colonizers. We just got to get rid of you. Like, let's come back and talk 20, 30, 100 years from now and get a genuine business relationship. But right now, it seems like it's forced. Definitely other blacks across the world are going to seem like you're strong arming us because you're a former colonizer. It only makes sense for them to ask him to leave just off that, just off face value. It don't look right. They got still here and we're supposedly independent. It just don't look right. They gotta get up out of here. But they did not dismiss all Western power, as you might hear a tether like Kwame suggest. They do rock with Germany and other Western European countries. They just don't want to rock with their former colonizers. Okay, that's that on that, and I don't blame them. Okay, now you have other African countries that came to power the same way with coups, and this you have Mali, you have Niger, and you have Guinea, right? So my thing for a diehard Ibrahim supporter would be why Ibrahim Toure and why not the leader of Mali? Why you not behind him when he did his thing? Like why only Ibrahim Toure? Because they all expelled the French, Mali, Niger, and Guinea. So it's like, so why are we hearing about this one guy when the other three guys did the same thing? So like that stuff like that makes me scratch my head. Like why for the supporters, not the man, but the supporters. Like yo, they all kicked the French out. Like why this guy only? And I don't. They're not supporters. They're really fans because supporters pretty much know what they're supporting. You dig? Like these guys are fans. Like they don't even know what they're supporting. I guarantee you, they come on here. We have a discussion. It's a lot they're not gonna know, and they're supposed to be supporters. Like I support the claim for reparations. There's some things I might not know, but ain't no damn coon or tether gonna outsmart me on that or white supremacists. So yeah, I watched American Dream on Burkina Faso. He actually did a good video. Um, he and Chief X had gave me new angles to look at when I look at Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, and everything surrounding it. Like American Dream came with a different angle, which is kind of clever, and Chief X came with a different angle, which is kind of clever. But both of them did a good job on their videos about Burkina Faso. Pretty good. Pretty good. Good, good, good. I give credit when it's due. Yeah, but I want to know why this guy, not the other three, you know. And so not to diminish or take away too much from what these African countries are doing, but again, just speaking to the supporters, the supporters they're too radical, they're too bloodthirsty. They remind me of like they kind of remind me of a black version of white supremacist supporters. You dig? Why do I say that? Because most supporters, I'm sorry, they're when I say supporters, that's in quotation. They're really just fans. So these supporters, you ask them what do you like the most about what's going on in Burkina Faso? They're gonna just tell you they kicked the French out. So it's like, oh, so it ain't about what the country is going to do next, and it's just the fact they kicked the white man out. That's enough for you to get on the bandwagon. Like you don't want to know nothing else. You don't know the goals, where they plan on going, the wants and beliefs. I mean, they could be eating people all day. They could be cannibals, and all you could care about is they kick the white man out. Let's be honest. We all heard about these folks, Burkina Faso and Ibrahim Traore. The main thing we heard was that he kicked the French out. We didn't know nothing else about the country or the man. All we know is that they kicked the French out. And yo, we cannot be that gullible and stupid because this just kicking the French out, leading with that talking point is the same rhetoric of the early 60s with the Black Power movement. The white man is the devil. You see what I'm saying? And look, they was able to amass a large following just with one talking point. The white man's devil. We knew nothing else they did or taught or built besides rhetoric like the white man is the devil. So now the French, he expelled the French. He kicked the French out. That's another way for these fan supporters to say, that's a more modern way to say the white man's the devil. Like so that's why like they agree. They're just as radical as those black Muslims at that time. All their thoughts line up with the black Muslims at that time, which are radical thoughts, unrealistic. Damaging, you dig? Uneducational, pro misinformation, pro romanticizing, you dig? That's what comes with those weak talking points. The white man's the devil, the French got kicked out. And it's always the Western white man. Like they even get more pickier. The Eastern white man all of a sudden is good. Like the Eastern white man is wholesome now. He's honorary black. Because again, when I found out he kicked the white man out, aka the French, and then I look into it more, it's like, hey, but he invited the white man back in the uniform as the Russians. You dig? It's like, so what are we doing? So you're supporting Ibram Traore simply and solely because he kicked the white man out, but the white man is back. So I'm like, so why are you supporting? See, so like these people don't really support. The real supporters are people who actually research or glue their ear to the events surrounding those regions and those countries and those people. Yeah, so American Dream did do a good little analysis on Burkina Faso. Check it out. Click his link is in the chat. Click it out. Check it out. Definitely an interesting video. He was honest. Okay, I'm gonna say he was honest. He surprised me. But that's all I really ask for is honest conversations. That's all I want to have is an honest conversation, like regardless of your beliefs, right? Just an honest conversation. That's it. Just because you're honest about the events and facts doesn't mean you got to change your mind about what you formerly believed. Yes. Okay. That's why I got you. Okay, stay right there. I got you. All right. So you know what? Okay, watch this right here. So I got a video. Hold on. You're hungry? All right, let me get his turkey burger. And while I'm doing that, I could play this right here. A video I put together yesterday. How long is it? It ain't that long. Shit. All right, so here's a question that comes up often. Did Russia colonize Africa? The answer is no formal colonies in Africa. Unlike Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Portugal, and Italy, the Russian Empire did not acquire or administer African colonies. Russia's empire in the 19th century was continental. However, the U.S., like Russia, I'm gonna fast played forward no to leading something. role and was not involved in carving up African
there you go.
territory. Okay. The So did y'all know that when the Berlin Conference took place, did y'all know that Russia was at the conference? They signed off to the rules, regulations, terms and conditions of the conference. So they nodded their head, yes, this is a good thing, but they did not take part. So just because you didn't take part doesn't mean you're not as culpable as everybody else. Because Russia signed off to it. Okay. But do you know also there's another country who signed off on the Berlin Conference, like Russia, but did not participate? So I want to get to that. Give me a second. So there are two, because again, if you listen to Afrocentrists, right, which I say Pan-Africanist, but the proper term might be Afrocentrist. When you look I think I got that from Chief X. When you look at Afrocentrists, right, they like to whitewash and blackwash history. Okay, they like to also cherry pick history, events of history. So they would tell you that, hey man, Russia wasn't involved in carving up Africa, right? So therefore, see, the Russian white man is a good white man because he didn't do that. Well, if that's the case, then there's another white man that's good, according to your logic, that you don't include in that. And we'll get to it. Let me just fast forward this to that part. Give me a second. Okay. Listen. Okay. He postponed elections and got rid of the. Okay. So far, redistribution mainly comes in the form of military-backed employment. Man, get a gun and fight. Increase local control of land resources, land, or limiting foreign exploitation. Matt Turner said, "I can't believe he was actually honest." Hello. He said, I can't believe that. He said, all right, let me get to where I want to get to. Hold on. Let me find it. Okay, I'm there. Listen, guys and gals, listen right now. Russia uses its non-colonial history in Africa to promote itself as a friend to Africa. We never enslaved you, they will say. We never colonized you, they also could say. We're not here to lecture you, they can say. Common, and they have said those things. Common Russian messaging in Africa. This message resonates in countries like Burkina Faso. They fall for this, Mali, Central African Republic, and Sudan, especially where anti French or anti Western sentiment is strong. Okay. And also is dominant in Western Hemisphere Pan Africanist circle. They will gloat that as well. I heard them do it myself, or heard them and read it in chats. But it's also a clever narrative tool. Russia may not have colonized Africa, but is still capable of economic and military domination today if unchecked. All right. But wait, there's more. Did the United States participate in the Berlin Conference? Okay, yes, the U.S. attended, but passively. The United States was one of 14 nations present in the Berlin Conference of So this is 1884 to wild. 85. The U.S., like The Russia, Afrocentrists won't signed admit the this. General Act agreeing to the principles of the partition, like free trade along the Congo and Niger rivers, recognition of territorial claims based on effective occupation. However, the U.S., like Russia, played no leading role and was not involved in carving up African territories. Okay. The U.S. joined more out of diplomatic alignment with European powers than direct colonial interests like Russia. Okay. So outside of establishing a colony like Liberia. Okay, that part. So here's the thing. So now I remember what the point American Dream brought up that I didn't think about. So American Dream had pretty much explained what Russia is offering as opposed to France, right? So France was offering more, so therefore they wanted more out of Burkina Faso. They want to be involved more, like as far as how the country is regulated, uh, the direction of the country, things like that. Um, Humanitarian policies, government, democracy, the Constitution, like they were involved in that type of stuff. So what American Dream pointed out was Russia don't give a damn about Burkina Faso like that. So Russia just wants gold and they'll just give you military drones and like just military benefits, but they don't give a damn how Ibrahim Traore run the country, whether he's a dictator, whether he's a elected president. You know, Russia don't give a damn if Ibrahim Traore starves his people, feeds his people, take all the wealth like other corrupt countries, mhm, or redistribute the wealth like more first world countries. Russia like, hey, that's on y'all. We don't care if y'all take the money and blow it on Cadillacs. You did like the whole stereotype that we get over here in America, reparation money. Russia like, yo, we don't care what you do with the money. It's on you. We don't care what type of government you choose to run. We don't care if you don't want to give women rights. We don't care if you continue child marriages. We don't care if you guys continue FGM, female genital mutilation or mutilation, female genital mutilation. We don't care if you practice those things. We don't care. Just give us the gold. Okay. So that's what American Dream pointed out. Chief X had a different angle. Well, he didn't have nothing on that, but he came somewhere else with it. It's pretty good. But those are the angles that led my research to a certain direction. I'm like, that's interesting. So that was an interesting angle. So that was the only video I ever watched from American Dream. So I was like, wow. So he so I gotta watch other videos 'cause I know he's lying somewhere else. But I gotta watch other videos before I determine. Okay. Right. But yeah, so I would say he was fair on that assessment, but he got other videos with wild titles. I don't know about them. I was scared to click them. But I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier. So you have Afrocentrists, right? So I'm not gonna say Pan Africanists anymore because I wanna put the blame where it's due, where it's rightfully due. You have Afrocentrists who likes to highlight the fact that Russia will be a good partner for Africa, period, because they have never colonized Africa, omitting the fact that America has never colonized Africa. So the same role that Russia or lack thereof, Russia, you can make the same argument for America, but they will pick and choose, and they'll come on this podcast and get cooked because they'll mention that fact. And I said, okay, so you're trying to tell me they're better off than the other European powers who did colonize Africa? They're gonna say, yeah, because hey, they did them dirty, they stole this, right? Okay, what about America? Humble, 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 humble. Yeah, see, man, you guys, Afrocentrists are just black white supremacists. That's all. They are just as dumb. And when I say white supremacists, I'm talking about the stupid white supremacists that just waste time. Just change the subject when you cook them. Change the subject. That's what I mean. Not by action, not by burning down schools. I'm talking about just logic and how they present information, how they're constant with misinformation. I'm talking about they are like white supremacists like that. how they omit from history, don't mind. Dr. John Henry Clark is one of those folks. He's an Afrocentrist who omits from history. He said out of his own mouth. Um, you know, so we can't rock with them. Peace, Golden. So now look, Golden said, listen, he said Liberia. Golden, like now, brother, you need to know. I don't know if you're in my podcast, but I went over the ACS. But when you say Liberia, you're talking about the ACS. Now, if you say Liberia, I need you to know what happened in Liberia, all right? Because again, by saying that, you could misinform people. You could misrepresent what happened in Liberia. So just don't say that. Like come with some facts behind that a little bit. You ain't got to write a whole book, but just come with something more than just that. Because when you just say it like that, you can mislead people to believe something happened there that did not. Okay. So, so no, no, no. Liberia was more of a unique situation. It wasn't part of the. It wasn't for the same reasons why they carved up Africa. It was different. Liberia, just real short. Liberia was a relocation country for uh, black people in America. Okay, so white supremacists didn't want black folks in America, free black folks in America. So that's how they came up with Liberia. It wasn't for the same reasons why people were carving up Africa. That's why I say like certain things sounds cool, but it could be misleading without the information behind it. So I librarians be lying. Librarians be like they be lying. Listen. So I talk about brain drain, brain gain a lot. Okay. When I mention it, I talk about countries because when countries suffer a brain drain, it's like a lot of times irreversible. Now, on the small level, you can talk about a city, state, town brain drain in a country like America, like what an American Dream did. But American Dream, he did that, but he grossly misrepresented a city, town, state brain drain or brain gain in America by comparing it to a country's brain gain, brain drain. Okay, so United States have experienced brain drains and brain gains. Yes, they did. They experienced brain drains and brain gains, but these are reversible. And there's some context to what happened. So the the most hello the most yeah okay brain drain okay and brain gain. So the South, you know, 18 no, no, I'm sorry, early 19, yeah, 1910, 1920, that led to the mass migration. So you can say, hey, man, that was a brain drain in those states because those workers, right, those potential innovators, they left and relocated in the North and the West, improving. Yeah, you want to get better, you got to do it. Yeah, so to give more context, yeah, so So America experienced, they didn't suffer because it's reversible. I mean, that's up to the states. But like the southern states are so racist that they didn't mind. Like, all right, well, get out. We ain't gonna change our policy. So as you know, if you don't know, they were like against civil rights. So like they did a lot of unfavorable things to chase not just black people, but even white people from their state. You did like they don't like to deal with like um just social reforms altogether. Like they're kind of hard on those things. They don't even put money behind like family planning. Like they don't so like they don't invest a lot of money into like the population. Like their thing is you're poor because you were born that way. Like you got a genetic mutation, right? Something that no social program can reform you from. You're just done. Like that's the South's collective mind state. That's why they're poor. Like they don't believe that people are poor because of conditions or the lack thereof. All right. So for that reason, people obviously left the state and went to better states that provided better opportunities. But a lot of came back. Look, a lot of us right now are in the South. So it's not irreversible, it's reversible. A lot of us came back to the South. But that's mainly why the South is poor, especially grossly poor compared to the North and West and in every other direction. I'm gonna do a live about that sometime, explaining why the South is so poor. Now it's more than just a brain drain. It's more than that. But that's one thing. But the legacy of slavery is what ended it really. The legacy of slavery is what really caused the South to become poor because they relied on manual labor. So once the North illegalized slavery, emancipated foundational Black Americans, the labor force was gone. Yes. What do you want? Huh? Okay. You get a soccer ball? Thank you. He'll get it. Bubba get it. Thank you. Really? Now I didn't know that. I didn't know Liberian money is American money to this day, Golden. Yeah, American. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, matter of fact, um, hey, Golden. I got hella videos on the ACS in my video archive. You should really go check those out because I go ham. Like you should watch all those videos because I talk about that to a large degree. I got a lot of information about the ACS in Liberia. The Americo, what do they call it? The Americo Liberians. I forgot what it's called. Russia is still part of white supremacy, which don't make Russia any better. That's a fact, Nat Turner. Russia is definitely white supremacy. Um, I can't. I mean, they white. Like you know what I mean. How can you argue with that? Uh, Lord Maul says, speaking of Liberia, did you guys hear about Liberian chick? Yeah, I heard. Oh yeah, yeah. No. One that claimed. Yeah, I see that. I see that one. The Liberian chick claiming to be FBA. It's like, ma'am, if you're FBA, you wouldn't be called Liberian. Okay, the fact you're calling yourself Liberian is a testimony in itself that you're not FBA. But I'm not in her way. If she think, I mean, or I will. I mean, the standards and requirements are set. So if she want to make a case to try to go ahead and get something, go ahead. Like it's gonna flop because you're Liberian. Your family member decided to leave the country and never come back. Hmm. How many Liberians left the country anyway? I mean, like that would be an interesting argument for a Liberian to argue claim for reparations in America. That would be interesting. I would love to hear it before I make a you know a sudden, like a quick conclusion. I would like to hear their argument first. Like, why do you believe you're due reparations? If they make a good argument, then that's just what it is. But if they don't, again, that's just what it is. All right. So, did I have another? Oh, okay. So, what you guys know about Soul City? So, I just played Soul City on my other channel on Bias Ron. What y'all know about Soul City? So, Soul City was supposed to be a planned Black Wall Street by. I'm bad with names. Well, no, I'm lying. Well, yeah, I'm better with events. I'm bad with names. I'm better with events. But let me try to get his name. I I'm gonna find his name in a second. The guy who worked on Soul City. I don't think it's a long video. All right, give me a second. Let me find this. Let me find this video. Get away from there. Hey, Yugi Soccer Ball. Okay, I'm looking for Soul City. No, it's all right. I found it. It's funny because when you think you've seen it all, heard it all, read, go in there. What you doing? No, go that way, that way, that way. Play the ball over there. Okay, we'll put the ball down then. Well, go play with it. Go. All right, see if I can get this angle correctly. Let me see. So, yeah, I got some comments in the chat. Uh, hey, if y'all get a chance, go ahead and like the video. Nat Turner says, "Damn, Africans just don't stop trying to fit an FBA fan, but no, sir, they have no argument." Lord Maul says, "I never heard of Soul City." Yeah, it's crazy, man. They bury our history. I actually got a new YouTube. Well, it's not not new. I just renamed my YouTube channel, an older one, to Bury Black History. Um, Golden Brown says, "It's possible that is why Elijah Muhammad never built a black city for separation. He never built a black city because that was never his real game plan. Like, so you got to understand, like some black folks just talk a lot and it just sounds very good, but they have no intention to do that. They just, for their own celebrity, they'll say a lot of stuff, but they have no real course of action to bring that to fruition. So now you could talk, get out of there. So now you could talk about Dwight York in Atlanta or somewhere in Georgia where he was accused of the unthinkable with those kids. They got like 100 years. Stop it. Where he got 100 years, but at least he had got some land in Georgia and got all his followers away from the white man. Somewhere like with like ridiculous acres of land, like 400 acres of land, some ridiculous stuff in Georgia. So Elijah Muhammad, that was never his game plan. Elijah Muhammad's game plan was to get your money, go live his best life while you guys struggle and believe in Allah, and hoping one day you can live like him. Okay, my man had no real plan. If y'all think he did, click the link. Let's have that discussion. Okay. His plan was fantasy. Like his plan was no different than Umar's and Marcus Garvey's. Elijah, Black history is better off without him, to be honest. I can't just be more honest than that. Black society, yeah, you're. See, I won't call him doctor because he wasn't a doctor. That's why I just call him by his real name, Dwight York. But yeah, he's also called Dr. York. She claims she was a descendant of FBA's, so she's entitled to a reparations claim. Oh, yeah, see, you can't argue that. If somebody is a descendant, then they're a descendant. You did. Like I can't get in their way. And but that's for her to prove that. We all got to prove our own case. Don't forget, anybody can make a claim. That's fine. Like right now, I can make a claim right now, an insurance claim. I can make any type of claim. You got women claiming certain guys did things to them. It's a claim. Now you need proof. So anybody can make a claim. Okay, so now let me hit you up with Soul City. I'm still reading and watching the chat. All right. So we're talking about make sure my audio is good. Give me 1 second to audio check. Okay, I knew it. Why can't I? Okay, cool. All right. I should be better off. All right, so here we are. Soul City. This sounds like it's fake. Like this is fake news. No, there's really a project called Soul City. Okay. This is during the 70s, 1970s. So give me 1 second. Okay. So Soul City, the founder, civil rights leader Floyd B. McKissick, as you see on the right. Okay. Former national director of CORE, Congress of Racial Equality, and an early proponent of Black capitalism. So the purpose of Soul City was envisioned as a major Black-led community that will provide economic opportunity, housing, and political power to FBAs. Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me just fix something real fast. Shoot, that wasn't it. northern urban decay and southern segregation. Okay, now the funding, how was this going to happen? In 1972, Soul City received a federal urban I hate when I do all that talking on mute. Oh my God. All right. Thanks, American Dream. Oh my God. I did all that talking on mute. All right, I'll do it again. In short, Soul City was a planned Black Wall Street in ideology, right? They were going to remake Black Wall Street with government funding. Okay. Soul City was one of 13 other planned cities or towns. And you can imagine the other planned cities were not black, they were white. Okay, white. Okay. Oh yeah. Go that way. Okay, so white conservative media. So American Dream and other non-FBAs out there, you might want to take heed. This is why when we talk about America and politics and racism, you need to stay out of it unless you're going to actually learn some things. So today, you have the conservatives, you have the Republicans who are really going hard on illegal immigration, as they should. In the media, they're hard on illegal immigration and immigration period. But you have liberal media to neutralize it. So everything negative or critical the conservatives put out there against immigration, illegal or legal, you have liberal media outlets to counter that with positive information, or they're stamping immigration, they're justifying it, they're behind immigration, illegal or legal. All right, they're neutralizing the one-sidedness of media or media bias. All right, they're neutralizing media bias. American Dream and other non-black, not non-black, but non-FBAs out there, when it comes to foundation Black Americans like Soul City was one of 12, 13 planned cities to be successful by government fundings. It was behind the Richard Nixon administration. Okay. They signed off to it. Okay. So they start off with $14 million, Soul City, which was in North Carolina. It was coming off the hills of Black Wall Street and Durham, North Carolina. Okay. That was sabotaged in the 1920s. Early, you know what I mean? Early 1920s. Anyway, um, the conservative media outlets, they became attacking Soul City and the funding project. They start to call Soul City a separatist initiative. They start to lie. Because keep in mind, this is post integration, right? This is integration. So they're lying, saying Soul City is really a separatist initiative. They start to demonize Soul City as a Nation of Islam backed program, the Moors Science Temple back program, or the Nubians, or whatever other black radical group. They were saying Soul City is not what you think it is really a disguised black separative ideology or initiative. So Richard Nixon and his administration, they caved into the pure pressure of the white right conservative media outlets. Threats. Okay, now watch this. Um, where were the liberal outlets to defend what Soul City was really about? The same way they defend these immigration policies, legal or illegal. See how they come out and neutralize the media bias. They give an alternative let's say agenda narrative to what the conservatives put out there. Well, when they were bashing Soul City to be a separatist initiative movement, ain't nobody come out. Nobody in the liberal side came out there and meet them halfway to neutralize that, so media bias wouldn't outshine what's being done. So Richard Nixon and his administration, they caved into the media pressure and they defunded Soul City, and they collapsed. Meanwhile, the other 12, 13 planned cities, they still thriving today. They were part of that 13 city planned city. and they're all white. Okay, so that's the thing. Like that's the thing. That's what separates us and every other non-foundational black person that comes to this country. Okay, we are not protected like you guys are. So we speak from a different angle. So when we plead our case, stay out of our goddamn business. Because when you add to the flames, you're no different than conservative media. You're now spewing the same things they spew. That's why we look at you all as white supremacists. We don't make any difference. You're just colors. We call you tethers. All right. So, any questions to that? Okay. Let me see what Golden Brown said. Golden Brown said, "Hold on, I was not saying that Liberia was FBA." So, no, we know that. And but again, like I would love to hear the argument before I dismiss Liberians' case for reparations. Before I just be dismissive, I would love to hear their argument as to why they are in line of reparations. Hey, they might have a good argument. I don't know. I haven't heard an argument, just yet. So I'm waiting to hear the argument. And if they make a good case, then oh well. I'm not gonna be dismissive, but I'm open minded. Uh, so he says I was just dealing with Liberia, the colony of America. Yeah, it was a colony of America, but it wasn't a colony like Africa had going on with France, Belgium, and Great Britain, and it wasn't like that. Nat Turner says all that Bricks talk about abandoning American dollar is all game scare. If exactly, Nat Turner, I'll be hollering when I hear this. Oh, we're gonna create what's that crazy ass dollar? That that goddamn piece of trash Gaddafi was talking about, the denier or some stupid shit. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, Gaddafi don't love Africa. He doesn't not love Africans. Cause y'all need to stop with this Gaddafi white man hero complex. So now I'm with you on that. He said taxes to make people think Americans ain't on top anymore, which is bull. Russia will never turn on America. And right. They got, yeah, like you said, I agree with that turn 100%. You guys be watching too much fake news, TikTok articles like Kwame. Y'all need to stop and tune in to channels like this to get an unbiased channel perspective. Lord Maul, the key words is that they will in the future that will never come. Lord Maul said they will stop using the U.S. currency in their transactions starting in 2025. And that's like Lord Maul, you might be right, but I refuse to believe that type of stuff. For me, I got to see it. Like I keep hearing this stuff. We've been hearing this for thousands of years now. I'm joking, but we've been hearing this for a while. And at this point, I got to now see it to believe it. That sounds good until it's actually being done. And America rightfully is going to blow them off the planet if they try that. All right. Because you're playing with their lives. Okay. So that's why they're not going to try it, because they know we got the strongest army in the world and we put the most dollars. Yo, listen, this is no cap. I think if you put together all the strongest armies in the world, I think collectively out of them, I think we still put more money in our army than all of them. You heard me? I think all of the strongest armies in the world, if you total their spending in their military, I think America spends more than all of them combined. Okay? So y'all got to think about that. Anyway, the only chance a country has with us is a nuclear bomb. If any countries go out all out war with us, they're going to get destroyed. I know you guys been watching pseudo cartoons and pseudo situations where you believe these countries are strong. I can tell you where all of them are weak at. China, Iran, I could tell you because I really study this stuff. You guys just be watching TikTok. I can tell you where they're all weak at. And tell me where America's weak at. Like it's almost impossible for anybody to invade America. It's almost like you have to be here already. But I'm talking about from your country coming in, like a true invasion, not some secret infiltration. I'm talking about a true invasion. It's almost impossible to invade America. Any country can't do it. Like we're that stacked. So let that country talk about we're gonna drop the American dollar. We're gonna go with this new franc or whatever. Just okay. All right. We'll see what happens to your country. Your country won't be in existence afterwards because America is going to undermine it with their media, their infiltrations, their CIA, COINTEL, all that type of shit they got going on. They're going to undermine you so fast and discredit your country so fast. And the next thing you know, you'll be like Libya. Okay, I'm just giving you the raw facts. White supremacy is not just going to let black people build power. We have to take power, go to Brown. Good luck with that. I've seen all this propaganda for over 35 years. Right, right. I would not turn on that stuff. Yeah, I would not turn 100%. Like all these scare tactics, we've been hearing this stuff for the longest, bro. Again, I'm not saying it can't happen. Well, some things I'm saying you're not going to invade America. It's not going to happen, and nobody going to beat America in an all-out war. They could only throw nukes over here, but they're going to die too. But nobody can beat America with straight up like 1v1. China, nobody. And matter of fact, China gonna learn when they go try to take Taiwan back. Watch how fast America go over there and in that. That's gonna be done. And if Iran go ahead and try to get a nuclear bomb, watch how fast America uh, get rid of them, and none of China's allies are going to help them. See, y'all don't know that. When America go to destroy Iran, China and Russia is not going to help Iran. They're gonna let Iran catch the fade, and Iran gonna take a L. Okay, Iran might be the new Japan, where they just occupy Iran, take their oil, whatever. But watch. Yeah, you guys don't know because you're in your little inner circles. But America and white people like Americans have not been ruling the world for like 2,000 years just to fall apart from stupid stuff. Not gonna happen. Like in order to beat up somebody, like think about this. Look at this analogy. George Foreman was knocking everybody heads off, right, at the time. Muhammad Ali knew he could not beat George Foreman in a flat out traditional boxing match. Okay. So he knew that he had to fight George Foreman a different way. Okay. And he adapted. George Foreman, he is believing that he's getting off on Ali like he does everybody else that he knocked out. But he doesn't understand that that's part of Ali's game plan. It's for him to act like he's dominating. And then Ali used that against him and knocked him out in the most embarrassing way, where George Foreman retired from boxing. He was so humiliated that he retired from boxing for some time. Okay. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that there's tactics, there's strategies that people use, intelligent people use to stay around. Okay, to stay around. So America and this European power, right? Not saying they're not going to fall eventually, but it's only going to come within. It's not going to fall from outside source. I don't believe so. It's going to be inside, like infiltration, like Rome, things like that. It won't be some outside source coming in doing Nathan. Dig? But that's just my opinion. It's not a fact. R.I.P. to George Foreman. Yes, sir. Ricardo says, yet to have anyone refuse my my money. Yeah, buddy. Good chat. Yeah, but and if you live in America, and especially if you're foundational Black American, I wouldn't even entertain such ideas that America losing the dollar. Like, why would we entertain that? That's going to affect us, and then we'll be a third world country tethering on to somebody else's country for hope and tranquility and prosperity, all that BS. If America is going to be overran, overcome, it's going to be by us infiltrating and getting in seats of power and doing it that way. It'd be a change of hands. But I'm not going to be for turning America to a third world power where now we're eating rice from Red Cross. Yes. It's a school bus. Wave the school bus. Wave. Say bye-bye. Wave the school bus. Yes, sir. So this live will be archived, right? But I'm gonna upload the video. If you guys missed the video of Ish and Joe Budden podcast, matter of fact, let me run that back. Matter of fact, you missed it. Let me run it back. It's not long. Move. Let me run it back. Let me run back because some of you guys missed the Joe Budden thing. Shit. Get out of there.
What about it?
Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different. I think that I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like, I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it. What about it?
Do you believe black people should get reparations?
No, I think black people should get equity, and I think the two are different. I think that I'm not really a fan of handouts. Like, I don't want your money. I just want me to be able to make my money and you not be on my dick about making it. I don't think that if we get reparations, we gonna fare any better. Me personally, I don't think that. So I think reparations definitely take the money and do some positive things with it, but I don't think it'll get us no better if we not changing how we being treated in America. I don't think reparations going to nothing.
It's about rich and poor. So the way we being treated is because we're poor.
No, I think that yes and no. I think
let me just finish. So if we did get the money, would it change how we're treated because they're not necessarily poor anymore?
No, because they're not gonna give you enough money for you to be rich. Reparations, they're gonna have to give 13% of the population reparations, and then they're gonna decide if you got black blood, if you don't. Like, when we get the reparations, one, the reparations don't come with a financial literacy package to show you how to use the money to your best advantage.
That I agree with.
That's number one. Number two, it's black people that make a shit ton of money today that still don't do nothing with the money and don't gain nothing in society just because they have money. So I don't think the reparations is the end all be all. I think that's a cop out for me.
I would just say, one, and I get the idea of not taking handouts, but the whole argument of reparations is that it's not a handout, that it's owed. Right, that it's reparations literally means repair,
Gotcha.
repair the damage done. So the idea is, if you took, like you said, if you got a 100-year head start and you took my money for 100 years, you exploited my labor, and all this stuff was built around our labor, universities, companies, insurance, all
the country,
yeah, the whole country, right, every institution. Then giving us reparations isn't a handout; it's actually what we're owed. And then the second part of that, I think, is I've never heard people say reparations is either or. You know, I've been part of the reparations movement for a long time, not like a leader of it, but just advocating for it. And every reparations person I know is also asking for voting rights, housing protections, other things. And then the last part of it is, I think reparations should be a check. I think every descendant of slavery, to be clear, so I don't get hit on the internet, every descendant of American slavery here in the United States deserves reparations.
Gotcha.
But I also think, in addition to the check, we should also have access to free
we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
You taking it when most people, in a general sense, talk about reparations. They talk about a check.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
If you said, "Yo, do you think every descendant of slavery should get free education?" Yeah. And again, it just depends on.
Would you, if you got all the other stuff, would you be okay with the check too?
I wouldn't be turned down to check now.
No, I mean as an idea. I don't mean would you turn it down? I mean, would you?
I just think that I don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I think that a lot of times people just be like, "Yo, if my mother worked at such and such, I would be doing better." Or if all of that shit, to me, it's the same ideology. In my overall, we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
Dave Chappelle had the thing about reparations. He's like, yo, the Cadillac dealership gonna be empty in 2 days. Shit like that. Like, I just think that they had a whole.
That's shit white people say to justify not giving it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. And so we cop Cadillacs. Then.
No, it ain't even just to justify not giving it.
The white boys got all that crypto money and bought every Lambo in the spot.
But I'm just saying, we kind of saw
money.
something similar, not similar, but we saw when people got access to a whole bunch of extra money they didn't expect during COVID
and all that shit. Yeah.
And look what happened.
Yeah. I'm of the belief that that's not my business.
True.
I'm not saying that y'all are right or not, that y'all are wrong.
Yo,
that ain't my business. Somebody go get their check and blow it. No,
of course.
It's funny.
Mine in the shoebox still.
This is a side, but it's kind of related. When I was in Nashville this weekend, we went to the Country Music History Museum or whatever, and they had some cars. They had Elvis's car. It was diamond paint, gold plated trim, TV in the back. Another dude's car had guns for the door handle.
Why do you not think our community deserves reparations?
For them to give every black person in the United States reparations, it'll cripple the financial system in America.
Can I ask you a question on that? During the pandemic, damn near the entire country got whatever that $1,200 check. Black people only make up 13% of the country. And then unemployment somehow was also able to tax on an additional $600 a week to those people who were unemployed during the pandemic. How do you reckon that 13% of the country receiving reparations would cripple a country that was able to give out? And it didn't cripple us because, let's be very clear, we're still sending money to Ukraine. Everybody else getting money except for here.
One, they ain't give a shit. Number two, and we paying for it right now. The economy right now is in a shitter. And, dog, people don't understand. You had to pay that on your taxes. That wasn't a free gift. So you didn't get no money from the government. If you had to claim that money as income and pay taxes on it, they loaned you some money. And you now gotta pay it back.
All right, at this point, it's just trying to sound smart. I'll take equity over reparations. And yo, somebody should have legitimately asked him, yo, Ish, what's the difference between reparations and equity? Can you break that down? He'd have been quiet as hell. All right. Just trying to be different, trying to be smart. All right, reparations and equity are both responses to injustice, but they are totally different in goals, definitions, and applications. And equity cannot replace reparations as a means of justice and compensation. Now, what is the definition of reparations? Let's get that out the way. Reparations are compensatory actions taken to atone for past harms or injustices inflicted on a group of people, usually by a government, institution, or a dominant society. Reparations typically involve monetary payments, land restitution, education funding, or public apologies. Acknowledge a specific historic injustice, e.g. slavery, genocide, forced relocation. Not equities, but reparations are owed to the harmed group as a debt, not as a favor or benefit. Okay, this is not something you could just say, no thank you. It's owed to the harmed group. It's duly yours. Examples: Germany paid reparations to Holocaust survivors as the state of Israel. But would you say that the survivors of the Holocaust, they received handouts for their genocide? Would you actually say that on the Joe Budden Podcast? Hey, the disrespect for us, it's coming to an end because we're standing up. Just read all the comments. Matter of fact, I'll read the comments. The U.S. gave reparations to Japanese Americans intended. The U.S. gave
reparations to Japanese Americans interned during World War II. All right. Was that a handout to the Japanese people that were done wrong? Enslaved Black Americans, who we call foundational Black Americans or American freedmen, or just being respectful, American descendants of slaves, right? African Americans, people say, I'm just being respectful to all the terms, right? But we say foundational Black Americans have never received federal reparations despite centuries of slavery, Jim Crow laws, and systemic exclusion from wealth building programs like the GI Bill and Social Security. So now let's define equity. Equity refers to the fair distribution of resources, opportunities, and access in the present, taking into account the existing disparities caused by past or ongoing systemic injustices, right? So equity focuses on leveling the playing field, e.g., giving more help to those who start from behind, seeks to create equal outcomes, not just equal opportunities, is forward-looking, addressing current gaps in education, healthcare, housing, income, etc. Example, allocating more education funding to under-resourced Black schools is equity. Affirmative action in hiring or university admissions is equity-ish. Providing extra support for minority-owned businesses is equity-ish. But you see, it's for everybody who's called a minority. So I wonder who actually advised is to say that on a big podcast like Joe Budden. I wonder who possibly even paid Ish a few pennies to go say that on the Joe Budden podcast, to use equities as an alternative to reparations. And the fact that he didn't even explain really. Now, are reparations and equities interchangeable? No. Reparations and equity are not interchangeable. Let's go through it. Okay, so what is the purpose of reparations? It's to compensate for past harm-ish. What is the purpose for equity? To address current disparities. You see? So one is addressing the past and one is addressing the present day. Okay? So, quite frankly, we'll take both. But to say past harm is no good, we'll just take current conditions is just a fool. Who is it for? Who's reparations for? Specific group harmed historically, in this case, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves. Who is equity for? Anyone disadvantaged by current systemic inequalities ish. Reparations is all exclusive. Equities are all inclusive ish. Who sent ish? The agent. What is the legal moral framing for reparations? A debt owed or restitution. What is the legal moral framing for equity? A policy goal for fairness. What's the scope for reparations? Often limited to a particular historical injustice. What is the scope for equity? Can apply to various groups and systems. So what is normally the form of reparations? Cash payments, land returns, public apology. What is the form of equity? Policy changes, resource reallocation, targeted support. No cash payments, no land returns, and no public apology. There's no accountability. It just, here you go. It's like a gift. It's like gifted to you. Now, Ish positioned equities as a replacement or equity as a replacement for reparations. I'm saying equities because more things come out of it than just one, as we just seen. Affirmative action, this, that. Anyway, no, equity is necessary but not sufficient. Here's why equity cannot replace reparations-ish. Number one, moral accountability, as we just went over briefly. Reparations admit legal and moral guilt. Equity does not. So Ish, like that was very, very slick, man. That was very, very slick. I'm speaking about Ish from the Joe Budden podcast show. Podcast, whatever. Equities does not admit legal or moral guilt. Equity can be framed as benevolence or reform, while reparations are a settlement of a historical debt. Like, and again, I want to know who sent Ishmael. Dude had an agenda, and it wasn't his. Justice versus charity. So when you look at reparations versus equity, you're literally looking at justice versus charity. Reparations are old. They are a form of justice. Equity, while helpful, often appear as policy-based assistance, which can be changed, reduced, or politicized. So it's interesting and ironic that he said he doesn't want handouts, but he's for equity. And equity is more seen as a handout than reparations. Restorative function. Reparations are designed to repair what was stolen or destroyed: wealth, freedom, culture. Equity does not restore lost generational wealth or land. It may help going forward, but does not repay what was taken. That's a slick boy, Ish. Yeah, so in my mind, I'm done with Ish. Here's the conclusion. Reparations are about repair. Equity is about fairness moving forward. Stop complaining about the past, in other words. Stop bringing that up. That's old. It didn't happen to you. It happened to folks, your ancestors. What that got to do with you, man? Focus on you. So that's why we actually need both. We need reparations and equity. All right. While equity policies are important to create a just society today, they do not erase the obligation of reparations for centuries of unpaid labor, exclusion, and systemic oppression. Equity can supplement, but it cannot substitute for reparations. It can supplement, but cannot substitute for reparations. All right, let's have this conversation, man.
As I can see, this lost his goddamn mind. And I truly believe he was put up to that. Either paid or non-paid. I definitely believe he was put up to that. Okay? Because he's supposed to be the fake. He's supposed to be the fake woke person on a podcast. You know, every group podcast, that's like clownery.
Equity can supplement, but it cannot substitute for reparations. It can supplement, but cannot substitute for reparations.
Why is this giving me feedback?
All right, let's have this conversation.
My bad. Yes, as I was saying, the dude Ish was put up to that, bro. Like, and then he was on Tammy, some other lady who checked him a little bit, not really big time, but a little bit though. She gave some pushback. Checked him on that. Like, dude, what are you doing? I mean, talking about equity, no reparations. The dude don't even know the difference. Equity deals with what's going on right now, and reparations past harm. That means what happened before to lead you in this position now. You're old for that, stupid. Okay? But Ish, now there was a tether in that podcast that Yvette already cooked in reparations. So I believe it's Ish's turn. I believe if Ish really want to speak about this topic and he's sincere with his, then go ahead and have a conversation with Yvette Carnell or Tone Talks or Tariq Nasheed or Dr. Carl Anderson. Somebody respect him. Okay. Hold on fast.
Some would definitely take the money and do some positive things with it, but I don't think it'll get us no better if we're not changing how we're being treated in America. I don't think reparations going to nothing.
It's about rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we being treated is because we're poor.
No, I think that yes and no. I think
let me just finish. So if we did get the money, would it change how we're treated because they're not necessarily poor anymore?
No, because they're not gonna give you enough money for you to be rich. Reparations, they're gonna have to give 13% of the population reparations, and then they're gonna decide if you got black blood, if you don't. Like when we get the reparations, one, the reparations don't come with a financial literacy package to show you how to use the money to your best advantage.
That I agree with.
That's number one. Number two, it's black people that make a shit ton of money today that still don't do nothing with the money and don't gain nothing in society just because they have money. So I don't think the reparations is the end all be all. I think that's a cop out for me.
I would just say one, and I get the idea of not taking handouts, but the whole argument of reparations that it's not a handout, that it's owed, right? That it's reparations literally means repair,
Gotcha.
repair the damage done. So the idea is if you took, like you said, if you got a 100-year head start and you took my money for 100 years, you exploited my labor, and all this stuff was built around our labor, universities, companies, insurance, all
the country.
Yeah, the whole country, right? Every institution. Then giving us reparations isn't a handout. It's actually what we're owed. And then the second part of that, I think, is I've never heard people say reparations is either or. You know, I've been part of the reparations movement for a long time, not like a leader of it, but just advocating for it. And every reparations person I know is also asking for voting rights, housing protections, other things. And then the last part of it is I think reparations should be a check. I think every descendant of slavery, to be clear so I don't get hit on the internet, every descendant of American slavery here in the United States deserves reparations.
Gotcha.
But I also think in addition to the check, we should also have access to free.
Overall, we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
You taking it when most people, in a general sense, talk about reparations, they talking about a check.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
If you said, "Yo, do you think every descendant of slavery should get free education?" Yeah. And again, it just depends on.
Would you, if you got all the other stuff, would you be okay with the check too?
I wouldn't be turned down the check now.
No, I mean as an idea. I don't mean would you turn it down? I mean, would you?
I just think that I don't think it's going to do what people think it's going to do. I think that a lot of times people just be like, "Yo, if my mother worked at such and such, I would be doing better." Or if all of that shit, to me, it's the same ideology. In my overall, we talking about a check.
It's two different thoughts.
Dave Chappelle had the thing about reparations. He's like, yo, the Cadillac dealership gonna be empty in 2 days. Shit like that. Like, I just think that they had a whole.
That's what white people say to justify not giving it.
Yeah, I'm about to say it. And so we cop Cadillacs.
No, it ain't even just to justify not giving it.
The white boys got all that crypto money and bought every Lambo in the spot.
But I'm just saying, we kind of saw
money.
something similar, not similar, but we saw when people got access to a whole bunch of extra money they didn't expect during
PPP
COVID.
and all that shit, yeah.
And look what happened.
I'm of the belief that that's not my business.
True.
I'm not saying that y'all are right or that y'all are wrong. That ain't my business. Somebody go get their check and blow it.
Of course.
It's funny.
Mine in the shoebox still.
This is a side, but it's kind of related. When I was in Nashville this weekend, we went to the Country Music History Museum or whatever, and they had some cars. They had Elvis's car. It was diamond paint, gold plated trim, TV in the back. Another dude's car had guns for the door handle.
Why do you not think our community deserves reparations?
For them to give every black person in the United States reparations, it'll cripple the financial system in America.
Can I ask you a question on that? During the pandemic, damn near the entire country got whatever that $1,200 check. Black people only make up 13% of the country. And then unemployment somehow was also able to tax on an additional $600 a week to those people who were unemployed during the pandemic. How do you reckon that 13% of the country receiving reparations would cripple a country that was able to give out? And it didn't cripple us because, let's be very clear, we're still sending money to Ukraine. Everybody else getting money except for here.
One, they ain't give a shit. Number two, and we paying for it right now. The economy right now is in a shitter. And, dog, people don't understand. You had to pay that on your taxes. That wasn't a free gift. So you didn't get no money from the government. If you had to claim that money as income and pay taxes on it, they loaned you some money. And you now gotta pay back.
All right, at this point, it's just trying to sound smart. I'll take equity over reparations. Hey, yo, somebody should have legitimately asked him, yo, Ish, what's the difference between reparations and equity? Can you break that down? It'd have been quiet as hell. All right. Just trying to be different, trying to be smart. All right, reparations and equity are both responses to injustice, but they are totally different in goals, definitions, and applications.
Yes. Anyway,
And equity cannot.
This is one of those dudes. I don't know how the screen did that. This shit doesn't pause. I'm pressing pause. Don't pause. Okay. So I don't know how the screen did that. I mean, yeah, but this is one of those fake black pro guys. But he's worse than the Afrocentrist because this is faking to be woke. Like he's really a COON. Cause you gotta, listen, man. When you migrate and socialize with different people, nothing shocks you. Yeah, I seen COONS Pan-Africanists or Afrocentrists. Like they're like fake. They disguise themselves as Afrocentrists. It's like the feminism, the feminists. You know, like when you first came across a feminist, you swore she was pro. Like, y'all reading the same books, watch the same videos, watch the same podcast, but she ain't listening the same way you are. She ain't watching for the same reason you are. You're watching to learn and feel empowered and do something, you dig? She's learning to combat it. When you come across your first feminist experience, you will realize that. Like, oh, these feminists you be like, yo, man, she cool as hell. You realize this chick is got a whole different agenda. She hate men, all type of weird shit. Okay. Anyway, I see we got Nat and Golden going at it. Cardo, there's no way I could been on that. Yeah. Exactly, yo. This dude Ish, man, like it's kind of even hard to have this conversation with him because he's so disingenuous. He start really acting like he's making sense. Well, no, because it'll cripple the economy. Yo, what will cripple the economy, Ish? Well, the money. Oh, Ish, you think we want a one cash payment like some? Yeah, they didn't even pay you that in the lottery. When you win the $300 million in the lottery, you don't even get that in a one-time payment. Like if you ask for one-time payment, they take tax. They cut it in half. Well, so much shit. They penalize you, but they encourage you to take payments. Like Ish, how about we get a judgment of 20 trillion to start off, and then we get 300,000 payments annually. Ish, how about that, my boy? Why do you think we're just looking for a one-time payment that could possibly hurt the economy? Ish, why would that be the only resolution? Why we can't do a payment plan, Ish? Feel like these Ish guys, I promise you, I will cook them, but I don't get the numbers like that. You know what I mean? Like these guys, you got to have numbers for them guys to, or some type of celebrity or influence for these guys to want to talk to you. That's why Umar was on there and different people. But man, if I had the numbers on this channel that I should have had if I didn't get suspended for all that damn time, that kind of killed some of my momentum. But if I had the right numbers, yeah, I would be getting these Ish guys. I ain't gonna charge nobody $50,000 for the debate. I'm gonna just cook them. You dig? I'm gonna just cook because I know they can't beat me. With that being said, I'm out of here. I'll probably back live, maybe some updated news, maybe, you know what I mean? Depends, man. Maybe open topic later on. Maybe open topic. Peace. I appreciate all of you guys. Just make sure you like this